This episode is sponsored by PGX Comics, the GenX place to get your comics graded and in case, shipping nationwide. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You, and today's PGX unboxing episode is filled with wonderful, cool books that just came back. But we're going to start off with some big news from PGX, and that is new bags. That's right. PGX has released these new bags which have UV protection and offer better security for your graded comic books. When you look at the old offerings and the same ones that are offered at CGC and CBCS, this doesn't cut it. I'm sorry, guys. But, we have a very, it's okay, but, PGX just steps up the notch. These are sealable, so you don't have a whole bunch of these things sticking out. They're nice, neat. Once you stack them, they're really nice, and it just adds an extra feature. Again, it's one of those little things that make a big difference that PGX is looking into and giving the fan base. So before I dive into these books that are amazing, I just want to add one thing. A lot of these people have been messaging me about shortcomings in the past. Now, that is all understandable. Not everything could go clean and smooth, but the important thing is what company learns and grows from any shortcomings they had in the past. For example, like I mentioned, Sears didn't utilize e-commerce so much. They were late to the ball game, and because of that, that ended up being part of their downfall. Now, PGX has listened and has worked hard to bring things up to par, to bring things as even with CGC. That's a company you want. And with CGC's prices and long turnaround times, I know one prominent YouTuber whose books took 14 months to get back. Now, PGX has had little drawback and actually ahead of their schedule. That's amazing. I get my books back in as long as 2 months. That's unheard of if you're sending your books to CGC. And the level of customer service, that's what I love the most. They treat me like an actual human being. Instead of where the CGC's kind of model is, hey, you should be lucky we're doing this for you. PGX is a company like, hey, we want to be there with you. We care. And they write back, they ask questions, they respond to questions. I am so impressed with the level of dedication and customer service where I feel like a human being. With CGC, that's not the case. So without further ado, let's take a look at this month's offerings. Okay, the first book we're going to feature is Transformers issue number 8, the first appearance of the Dinobots. This is one of those books that I've always loved as a child, and when you pair it up with my Transformers issue number 1, you can't go wrong with the first Transformers and the first Dinobots. This is a beautiful book. What's interesting is the story with the Dinobots being in the Savage Land, which is a Marvel thing. So it's kind of interesting that, now that they're not part of Marvel, how that has changed. But again, I have it in its sleeve to showcase the new PGX covers. And again, it goes you could flip over and it's sealable, so it's offering total protection for your book. So the top of the label, the top of the book is also covered. Now, you may think, whatever, but that makes a big deal when you have your book stacked up. So instead of having it just like open like that, offering that flap and having it seal gives it more protection and prevents dust from gumming in there, and just it's just really a nice little small but big feature that PGX offers. And this book came out wonderfully. Let me take it out of its thing. So I'll bring up the picture, but you have the first Dinobots. It says First full appearance of the Dinobots, Grimlock, Slag, Sludge, Snarl, and Swoop. Bob Budiansky, of course, is the story. First, Josie Beller and Circuit Breaker cameo. So those are another first appearances for minor characters that actually Hasbro doesn't have the license to. They're actually Marvel characters. So there's no way that IDW or Hasbro can utilize those characters. So they're unique, and they make their first appearance in this issue. So this is definitely one, if you're a fellow Gen Xer or fellow Transformer fan, besides getting issue 1, I recommend getting issue number 8. I also want to get the 4th one with the Shockwave on the cover. But again, this book is near and dear to me, and to have these two paired over by my Transformers section in the retro room. Okay, the next book we're going to feature isn't really a big key or not really significant. It's Avengers 79, the second appearance of the Lethal Legions. Lethal Legions, I'm sorry about that. But again, I just got it because I loved the cover and I thought it was pretty cool. It harkens back to a more innocent times in comics, and just, you know, the story itself is interesting and fun. This is when, again, that era when Avengers were just hitting their stride and just really dominant. So it's a minor book, but it's still nonetheless worth preserving and getting graded. And again, PGX did a home run job with this. 6.5, yeah, but at the same time, the book in itself looks amazing. And again, I've said this many times, being fixated on numbers and 9.8s is one of the big with modern comic collecting. The book and how it looks and presents is more important to someone like me than getting 9.8. It's great, and don't get me wrong, but at the same time, sometimes just having the book and having it look this wonderful is worth it. So, Avengers 79. Oh, and just to show you, this is what I'm talking about with this feature of the new sleeves. So I'm going to put this back. All you do is slide your book in, and then you have this type of seal on the top. So you just pull that off, and then you could pull the flap down, make it nice and even. So now your books, even the top part is now covered. It's the little things, but it means a lot. I really dig that. So this is another cool character feature to have with your comics. The next book we're going to feature was actually made in Key Collector Comics alerts, and that is G.I. Joe issue number 16. And what makes this book, to me especially important, is that it's the first appearance of CoverGirl. And CoverGirl was actually my first G.I. Joe figure. I remember my dad taking me to Sears and saying you could pick out any toy. And I picked out the Wolverine and CoverGirl. So, CoverGirl, one of the few times, was actually, besides Scarlet, the second female G.I. Joe character released. And again, a simple military outfit. One of my favorite all-time action figures is CoverGirl. It means a lot to me. So to have her first appearance in comic, and I got a 9.0. And I've said this on the channel many times. Getting high grades on G.I. Joe comics is unheard of. Because let's face it, a lot of these books ended up with young guys who just didn't care about, who just kept on rereading the comics. So getting high grades, especially on G.I. Joe issues, is really tough. So to get a 9.0 on such a key issue, the first appearance of CoverGirl and Tripwire, and this is the issue where Duke gets shot by Cobra Commander. Really important in setting up for the Dr. Venom story arc that's in G.I. Joe. So again, this is a great, iconic cover. And of course, Larry Hama, just, again, even now Larry Hama is on fire, but no other comic creator, and this is why I said Larry Hama belongs on the Mount Rushmore of comic content creators. He's just a living legend, and it's just a shame that modern comic people don't give him the respect that he so rightfully deserves. You know, of course, you had Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, great, but Larry Hama was the guy that inspired them, and he belongs on the Mount Rushmore. So if you're a young cat, please, you know, with Herb Trimpe, Larry Hama, and George Perez, these are guys you guys should know about and actually have them up on a high tier. For they're the reason why comics are the way they are today. G.I. Joe issue number 16. All right, our second to last book is really key. I mean, I remember having this book, and like a lot of us Gen Xers, it just, I don't know what happened to it, disappeared. So to be reunited with this book again, and also this book has been on a tear recently, and that is Spider-Man number 316, the first Venom cover by Todd McFarlane. And this being a newsstand variant, that was the one thing I targeted when I was going after this book. It got a low grade at 6.0, but still it presents wonderfully. If you look at it from the front, whatever. But again, this is a key issue, a newsstand variant, and it still looks and presents beautifully. So to get this book out of regular raw and put it in the slab is doing this book a favor, and it's preserving this book and keeping it in pristine condition. I think this is a wonderful job by PGX, and it also notes the Black Cat appearance, classic Venom cover, newsstand edition. So again, PGX puts those notes on these and just makes the like a nice description for the book. And this book just pops. It looks beautiful and seamless. And I'm so glad to have this back. I don't really care about the 6.0. The fact that I've finally been reunited with this book from my childhood is amazing. So I'm so glad that we add this to the personal collection. Amazing Spider-Man 316. So you're probably asking, what can top Amazing Spider-Man 316? Well, I'll tell you what. G.I. Joe issue number 275. Now, that issue may not mean anything, but this book is extra special. It is signed by Larry Hama to me. And on top of that, one of you, a viewer, send this to me as a gift. Walter, thank you so much for doing this. No one has ever done anything this nice for me. And it really means a lot. That's why this book is my most treasured book in my entire collection. That someone took the time and effort to approach Larry Hama and sign this on my behalf. Now, Larry knows me, he's heard of me, and he actually wrote to me after I did issue 287. So, you know, because I congratulated him about a new character that he revealed. So I've spoken to Larry via email. So to have him sign this book, that he knows who the hell I am, means a lot to me. And I want to point out some of the cool features of PGX Signature Series. You have a different label, a little kind of like a goldish label, noted that signed by Larry Hama. The top part is also changed from the normal with the red lettering on the top. Again, this is a wonderful presentation and kind of pops a little bit, differentiates itself from the normal PGX books. This book is near and dear to my heart. And again, Larry's signature to me at the right spot. This book is just, overall, it's amazing. And I really wanted to thank Walter for doing this for me. Well, anyway, that's this month's PGX unboxings. Again, check on the link below. And you too should consider switching to PGX or EGS. I think having CGC with their increase in prices, their long turnaround time, we don't, as a community as a whole, we don't want one company. We want all companies to be on par. And it's our job as a community to make sure, and actually this will benefit CGC. Competition brings out the best in all of us. So all books should be on par. And that's the most important thing. The book should be the driving force behind grading, not who the hell grades it. And it's our job as a community to bring all of these other smaller grading companies up on par with CGC. The difference is CGC is a corporation. It's a big, they have many people, where PGX and EGX are small companies run by a handful of people, regular fans just like me and you, pursuing that American dream. And that's why it's important for us, this little guy, to support another little guy versus a big corporation and making them get fatter and bigger. Anyway, this is Shabu Are You. Stay tuned. We're going to have more comic recaps and more unboxings coming up. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.